The Lord, may this night bring your healing and peace. Tonight, as darkness gently falls upon the world, we pause and open our hearts to the sacred stillness. In the quiet moments of this evening, we acknowledge our weariness, our burdens, our unspoken fears, and the heaviness we often carry in silence. The day has been long, and for some, it has been filled with pain, uncertainty, or loss. Yet even in the deepest valleys we are not abandoned. There is a presence greater than despair, a light that is never extinguished, a God who sees, who knows, and who heals. This night we ask not merely for sleep, but for restoration. For more than rest, we seek renewal. Healing is not always loud or sudden. It often begins in the hush of night, when we surrender control and let grace do its quiet work. The heart may be tired, the body weak, but God is still near, breathing life into the broken, peace into the anxious, and strength into the weary. The healing we long for might not come as we imagined. Sometimes it arrives not through change in circumstance, but through transformation of the soul. Let us remember, wounds do not disqualify us. They prepare us. Every scar tells a story not of defeat, but of survival. And tonight, under the watchful eye of the one who never slumbers, we are reminded, it is okay to let go of what we couldn't fix today, to release what we tried to carry alone, to trust that while we rest, God continues to work on our behalf. Peace is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of God amid it. It does not always roar. Sometimes it comes like a whisper in the wind, like the soft rhythm of breath returning to calm. And tonight, that peace is available. To the mind that won't stop racing, to the heart that aches with longing, to the soul questioning its worth, peace is not far away. It is close, waiting to flood the very places we thought were too far gone. In this sacred night, healing meets us where we are. Not where we pretend to be, not where we wish we were, but right here, in this moment, in our imperfection, our vulnerability, and our need. The God of all comfort does not wait for the morning to show mercy. He is already here, in the silence, in the stillness, in the shadows, turning our sorrow into strength and our restlessness into trust. So as we breathe deeply tonight, may we do so knowing we are held by grace, by hope, by love that never fails. The night may be dark, but it is not empty. It holds promise. It holds purpose. It holds the quiet miracle of healing that begins when we finally stop striving and simply receive. Lord, may this night bring your healing and peace. Healing often begins in quiet surrender, not in dramatic change. God works deeply in the stillness of night. Our wounds and struggles do not disqualify us. They prepare us and reveal the strength we carry through faith. Peace is found not in perfect circumstances, but in God's presence amid uncertainty and pain. Letting go of control allows room for divine restoration and renewed strength. God meets us in our most vulnerable state, offering comfort without the need for us to have everything together. Even in darkness, the night holds promise. God is present, working unseen to bring healing and peace. Healing often begins in quiet surrender, not in dramatic change. God works deeply in the stillness of night. We often expect healing to come with noise, with visible change, or with some grand breakthrough. But more often than not, it starts in the quiet, when we stop trying to control, fix, or force our way through the pain. In the hush of night, when distractions fade and our souls grow still, God begins his most intimate work. It is there, in the space where we finally let go, that something sacred begins to unfold. There is no need to perform for healing. We don't have to have the right words, the right prayers, or the perfect faith. What God seeks is not performance, but permission. Permission to step into our silence, into our tired hearts, and into the quiet corners we've kept hidden. And when we give him that space, healing takes root. not always as a dramatic transformation, but often as a slow, steady strengthening of the soul. In the stillness, we hear what we miss in the noise. We hear the whisper of grace, the voice of reassurance, and the gentle reminder that we are not alone. The night may feel long, but it carries within it the seed of renewal. As we surrender, not in defeat, but in trust, we discover that God's power is made perfect in our weakness. His healing isn't rushed. It's patient, intentional, and deeply personal. And it often begins when we finally choose to rest. Our wounds and struggles do not disqualify us. They prepare us and reveal the strength we carry through faith. It's easy to believe that brokenness makes us less worthy, less useful, less whole. But in God's eyes, it is precisely our broken places that become the canvas for His most beautiful work. Our scars are not signs of failure. They are evidence that we endured, that we are still here, and that grace carried us through what we thought we couldn't survive. Every struggle we've faced has shaped something within us. Through hardship, we've learned how to stand in the storm. Through pain, we've discovered compassion, humility, and resilience. Our battles have built a deeper strength, a strength not rooted in our own ability, but in a quiet, enduring trust in God's presence. The moments that seemed like our undoing were often the very places where our faith was forged. We are not meant to hide our wounds. We are meant to carry them as testimonies. They speak of healing, of lessons learned in the valley, and of a God who never left our side. What the world may see as weakness, God uses as a powerful testimony of His redemption and love. He does not discard the broken. He restores them and uses them in ways they never imagined. So rather than being something to cover, our struggles become something to carry with dignity. Because they tell the truth, we have fallen, yes, but we have also risen. And in rising, we show that nothing, not even our deepest hurt, can separate us from God's purpose or His love. Peace is found not in perfect circumstances, but in God's presence amid uncertainty and pain. We often wait for everything around us to settle before we allow ourselves to feel peace. We think that once the struggle ends, once the answers come, once the path is clear, only then will peace be possible. But true peace is not tied to outcomes. It's not something we find at the end of the storm. It's something God offers us right in the middle of it. God's peace does not ignore our pain. It meets us inside it. It's the calm that steadies our spirit when life feels unpredictable. It's the quiet confidence that we are not abandoned, even when we don't understand what's happening. His peace isn't the absence of chaos. It's the presence of assurance. It anchors us, not because the winds stop blowing, but because we know the one who holds the winds in his hands. This kind of peace is not fragile. It doesn't shatter under pressure or disappear when life becomes too much. It endures. It whispers truth when fear is loud. It reminds us that we are not alone, not forgotten, and not lost. It gives us space to breathe even when we don't have all the answers. And perhaps most powerfully, it shifts our perspective. Instead of praying for the storm to end, we begin to pray for the strength to stand through it. Instead of waiting for peace to arrive when life makes sense, we start to receive it as a gift in the confusion. Because peace that depends on perfect conditions will always be fleeting, but peace rooted in God's presence will never fail. Letting go of control allows room for divine restoration and renewed strength. We often hold on tightly to plans, to expectations, to the belief that we have to manage everything ourselves. Control feels like safety, like protection against the unknown. But in trying to control every outcome, we carry burdens we were never meant to bear. We exhaust ourselves chasing certainty, when what we truly need is surrender. Letting go is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the quiet courage to say, God, I trust you more than I trust my own understanding. When we loosen our grip and stop striving to fix what's broken by our own effort, we create space for God to move, space for His wisdom to replace our worry, for His strength to lift our weariness, and for His peace to calm our anxious hearts. Surrender doesn't mean giving up, it means giving over. It means placing what we cannot control into the hands of the one who can, and in that release, something beautiful happens. Our strength is renewed. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because we are no longer trying to carry it alone. God does His deepest work in surrendered hearts. He doesn't need our perfection. He desires our trust. When we stop wrestling for control and start resting in His promises, we begin to see things shift. We begin to breathe differently, hope differently, live differently. It's in that sacred surrender that restoration takes root. Wounds begin to mend, minds find clarity, and our souls rediscover peace not through force, but through faith. God meets us in our most vulnerable state, offering comfort without the need for us to have everything together. So often we believe we must be strong, composed, or spiritually ready before coming to God. We wear masks of confidence, hide our doubts, and tuck away our pain, thinking that vulnerability somehow disqualifies us from His presence. But God is not drawn to our perfection. He is drawn to our honesty. He welcomes the real us, the broken us, the unsure and weary us. There is no need to pretend with Him. He already sees what we try to hide, and instead of turning away, He steps closer. In the moments when we feel most exposed, when our emotions spill over, and our hearts feel fragile, God offers not judgment but comfort. His presence does not require a polished version of us. It invites the raw truth of who we are right now. This is the grace of God, meeting us in our lowest places, not asking us to climb out first. He does not stand at a distance, waiting for us to fix ourselves. He enters the mess, sits in the silence, and holds us through it all. He whispers truth into the lies we've believed about our worth, and reminds us that we are still His, still loved, still chosen. It's in those unguarded moments when we have nothing left to give that we begin to truly receive. His love doesn't wait for the morning light. It comes in the darkest hour. When we come to Him just as we are, He gives us more than we could ever ask for. Peace in the middle of our pain, strength in the center of our weakness, and hope when we feel we've run out. Even in darkness, the night holds promise. God is present, working unseen to bring healing and peace. There is something sacred about the night. It often feels like a pause, a breath between the chaos of one day and the unknown of the next. In that quiet space, where shadows fall and the world slows down, we are tempted to believe that nothing is changing. But just because we can't see the work doesn't mean the work isn't being done. God does some of His most powerful healing in the hidden places, where silence speaks and stillness creates room for transformation. The night does not mean abandonment. It is not proof that God is distant. In fact, it is often in the darkest moments that His nearness becomes most real. When we feel unseen, He sees us. When we feel forgotten, He remembers us. And while we sleep, unsure of what tomorrow holds, He is already preparing a way forward. His peace moves quietly, like breath through a weary soul, restoring what was depleted by the day. There is beauty unfolding even in the dark. Like seeds planted in the soil, healing grows beneath the surface, far from the spotlight. We may not feel it immediately, but it is happening. Grace rising in the silence, strength returning to tired hearts. The night is not a pause in God's presence, but an extension of it, filled with potential we cannot yet perceive. We don't have to wait for the morning to believe that good is coming. The promise of peace and healing is not limited to daylight. It is alive even now, in this very moment, carried in the quiet rhythm of God's unfailing care. The night, though silent, is never empty. It is full of divine intention, sacred timing, and unseen mercy at work. And so, as the night deepens and the world softens into silence, we find ourselves in a sacred space, a space not defined by noise or motion, but by stillness and surrender. It is here, in the quiet moments between dusk and dawn, that the soul begins to breathe again. The weight we've carried throughout the day starts to lift, not because everything is solved, but because we begin to understand that we don't have to hold it all alone. In this pause from striving, we realize that God's hands are already beneath our burdens, and His heart is already wrapped around our pain. There is healing in this moment, not dramatic or loud, but holy and steady. It comes not in a rush, but in gentle waves, like the tide returning to shore. And with each wave, a little more of our fear, our exhaustion, our sorrow is pulled away. We are not forgotten. We are not alone. The God who created the stars and calls them by name also calls us by name, right here in the hush of night. He does not wait for our strength. He meets us in our weakness. He does not wait for perfection. He pours grace into our imperfection. Tonight is not just an ending. It is a beginning of trust, a beginning of healing, a beginning of seeing peace not as a destination, but as a presence that walks with us. As we close our eyes, we are not surrendering to the darkness. We are surrendering to the light that remains even when our eyes cannot see. We are entrusting what we cannot control to the One who holds all things together. This night carries more than silence. It carries the voice of God whispering through our restlessness. I am here, I am working, I am healing. It carries the unseen miracle of a heart that dares to hope again. It holds the beauty of grace flowing into places we thought were too far gone. And though the world may be sleeping, heaven is wide awake, attentive, present, moving in ways that defy human understanding. We don't have to have the answers. We don't have to force the healing. We are allowed to simply receive, to lay our heads down not in defeat, but in surrender. We are allowed to feel tired. We are allowed to feel unsure. What matters is not the strength we bring, but the space we make for God to do what only He can do. Let tonight be the moment we stop trying to carry it all, and start trusting the One who has already carried us this far. Let it be the moment we choose peace over pressure, grace over guilt, presence over performance. Let it be the moment we finally exhale, knowing that God is not limited by our circumstances. He is present in them, working redemption into every thread of our story. As the world sleeps, heaven sings over us, songs of comfort, songs of healing, songs of peace, and as we rest in that melody, may our hearts soften to the truth that we are being restored even now, slowly, quietly, faithfully, for this is the kind of healing that lasts, not the rushed kind, not the forced kind, but the kind that grows in the stillness, nourished by the love of a God who never lets go. So let us rest tonight not with fear, but with faith, not with worry, but with wonder. For what God begins in the silence, He always completes in His time, and this night, wrapped in His mercy, may be the very beginning of something beautiful. Unstoppable force of an empath who's done with a narcissist.